Hello everyone, it's Trusty T, and this is week 1 of developing my game. Even though it's probably a little bit more than 1 week since I've been working on this for a couple months now, but I'm back to working on this game after a few month delay, and I've been at it for about a month now, so I wanted to share my progress so far. This video will be a little bit longer than future updates since I'm catching you up on what I've been doing and doing a little bit more than I would in a normal video. But let's get to it. Before we dive in, I wanted to mention that you're watching me write this devlog for my portfolio. If you prefer reading over watching, or just want deeper details, check out the full written post on my portfolio. I'll drop the link in the description. Alright, enough talk. Here's where the game's at right now. One of the more major changes I've made since coming back to this project was adding this class data class, which is just a scriptable object that I can alter and create for any new class that I want to make. Before I had this messy resources folder thing where I had these fireballs, like the actual abilities inside the resources folder, which is what I would load based on the different folder names, and it was just very bad. And I don't know why I didn't just think about using this in the first place, but now we have proper scriptable objects to hold my class data. So we have class names here and a class icon that I can change. Let's change it to this one. Yeah, I can change this to whatever. I also have the base stats right here, so I can reference this and just click edit. I've got the set if this is an enemy class or not. This is something that I'm debating removing, like making this player class data or enemy class data, so I don't necessarily need to flag it like this, but we'll see. I can lock classes and then I can give them abilities. So right now the Pyromancer has a Firebolt and Fireball ability. And see, this is why I want to move it away, because the way I've made it right now is that I have to have both abilities and enemy abilities. They work a little bit different. So I'll be doing that in the future. But I also have a prefab, which the player class is loaded from, and the menu for the class selection. And talking about scriptable objects, let's go to an ability here, Firebolt. Got all the things you'd expect. I mean, ability name, icon, unlock level, resource cost and generation, sound effects when it fires off and explodes. Is it piercing? What kind of modifiers? I've got one of these has a modifier. Okay, wait. Okay, well, I thought I had a modifier here. I can just add one. Slow. So this firebolt slows for some reason, but you know. In the future, I want to build a class uh, editor window, so I can go up here and go click, tools, class editor, and it'll pop up a new window for me to click on every single class that's in my project, enemy or player, it'll show, you know, in the grand idea of this, it would be really cool to have like a preview of the class prefab, just standing there in idle or something, and then it allows me to just, where do we go? Parameter, so I can click on add abilities here, right? But I have to then reference something that's already there. So I want to, when I click new ability, actually create a new ability right here in all just one huge window that I can mess with. The stats here, I have to click on stats. It's not like a crazy extra step, but I think it would be cool just to work on my tooling ability and skills just to make a cool new window for it all. As you saw just a bit ago, actually I could just added animations for the players and enemies. So I got my default cast animation here. I'm actually spawning the projectile at his hand. And let's see if we can kill this guy to level up. Oh, well, there's a death animation too. And I already touched on it when we were talking about the abilities, but each of these have their own, sound effects and casting animation. So, Ice Bolt is a one-handed attack animation. Ice Ball is a two-handed attack animation. Different sounds. Projectile abilities have an extra sound effects for when they explode and hit something, as opposed to Blizzard, which doesn't have an explosion. It just has this. I actually need to fix this because it's not looping properly. And it has a different cast animation, which I can actually just show right now. I think you saw it in the video, but I'll show it again here. But yeah, she's still firing fireballs. Technically, they're ice bolts, but anyways. Push 1, and we got that blizzard animation cast. And also, there's a bug here because... Yeah, oh crap. Oh, well, I've never... Yeah, see, the blizzard actually comes down here for some reason. Not really sure. I've never actually come down here before, so I'm like totally out of the map. Wow. Blurring. A lot of this UI that you'll see is the default UI from Unity, and this is just something that I've grown accustomed to, and I'm just so much better at using this, but I want to get better at UI Toolkit. It's just a little harder for me to learn for some reason. It reminds me so much of web development, and I'm not a good web dev. Maybe that's the reason why, but I had a friend early on help work on this game, and he made the action bar that you see with the abilities and the health bar. Here, let's go to a different scene so you're not just staring at a black screen here. Title menu. I need to clean up my file hierarchy. It's pretty bad. But yeah, here's an example of me using the default Unity UI just because it's so much easier for me. But yeah, I think I want to take this project as far as I can go. I don't really have crazy future plans, but I do have a steady to-do list. Every time I do a couple things, I'll add a couple just to keep working on it. The next couple of things I want to work on is there's this bug where enemies won't die for some reason after wave 1. It's kind of a big bug. I don't know why they won't die, but I've got to look into that. Also, when a player shoots, like with any projectile here, let's go to play again. So when we're shooting, first of all, we're shooting at raycast, and that's why it's shooting down or in weird positions if I'm aiming to the void. But I want to see how the player is facing me, but I want to rotate the player when I click so that he's always, facing where he's throwing the ball. It does kind of get wonky sometimes, but that's one thing I want to try and do. Other than those two bugs, I want to just tighten up the sound effects and animations. They either sound a little too weird or they look a little out of place. I just need to, polish it up just a little bit. I also want to create a scoring system where the score is based on how many waves you've done. So, you know, max wave is 5, you got to try and beat your high score type of thing. That's not going to be the end goal of this game, but it's just something that I'll put together so I can send it off to my friends and have them play test for a little bit, see what wave they get to. But right now, before I even do that, I also have to, well, obviously fix those bugs, but tune my players and enemies. The player is also insanely strong. Even at level 2, he can one-shot most enemies with his right click, on the Pyromancer at least. And the enemies start spawning at insane levels at like wave 5 or something. There's so many of them. So I've got to tune a lot of things before I can give it to my friends. But it's a playable version of my game so far. It's also none of these assets I've made. If that wasn't obvious, this is all by Stinty. They did a humble bundle a while ago, and I had to grab it because it was just way worth it. My future plans for this game, though, like if I'm thinking long term, I want an upgrade system of some sort. So, players at every 5 wave intervals will be able to choose an upgrade, or, enemies drop gold and the players will be able to use that gold on items and shops. I don't really know what I want to do with upgrades and that type of thing, but I know I want something. On top of that, I want a player progression system where they can unlock different classes. So, I talked about it earlier where I can lock classes. I just want to be able to unlock them. So, progression. Permanent upgrades or unlocks to classes. So, maybe you'll be able to choose certain abilities for Pyromancer. Instead of, that big fireball right click, maybe you can summon a meteor shower or something, some type of customization for each class, I think would be nice. Obviously boss fights, but that's going to be a whole nother beast, and that's pretty stretch for me so far, for now at least. And then multiple levels. This pack came with a few levels, so I'll just use these for now, but I'll end up building my own at some point, but for now these do just fine. They look really nice. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've been doing for the past month or so. Whenever I have time, I've been working on this game and been trying to make a routine out of it so I can, make a finished game. I'm trying to record this and upload blogs and tell my friends about it to try and stay more accountable. I think that'll help me. Reporting my progress for some reason makes me, it's like a positive feedback loop for some reason. Like reporting my feed or my progress is a good thing for me, and it makes me want to work on it so then I can report again. I guess it's like a show off thing, but I don't know. It's not really much to show off, but being proud of what I've built is a part of it. So, but yeah, thanks for tuning in to week 1, and I'll catch you in the next video.